Hi, I am here today to talk to you about topic development. So we are going to be thinking about taking a topic that is kind of big and broad and narrowing it down to some possible smaller topics. And then once we have a couple of smaller topics, we are going to think about the key words related to those topics and some synonyms for those keywords that we can then take to our search tools like Google Scholar or Google Advanced in order to find articles and resources on those topics. This video is going to be a little bit interactive, so there are a couple of moments where I will prompt you to pause the video and do some brainstorming on your own, and then come back to the video to continue. So just watch for those moments. So here we go. We are interested in thinking about topic development. And the topic we want to work with is something that is a controversy. So this controversy, you might choose something that is just kind of in the news right now, something that is a controversy that has a lot of public occurrency. You might also choose something that is particularly interesting to you, particularly relevant to your life. Or you might choose a controversy that is related to your related to your major, related to your particular interests in your field of study, maybe something that you're thinking about in one of your other courses. Although if you are going to use this research for the work you do in my course and the work you do in another course, you need to talk to both me and your other professor about that, so we know that you are using the work double. The same, you might also use this opportunity to do a little bit more research about a controversy that is related to your job outside of school. So any of those things are definitely possibilities. So for our purposes, one possible controversy is okay, so whether the borders should be open, right? I am currently stuck across an international border from my new job. So I am teaching online instead of teaching in person. That's true for other people, right? Lots of people are stuck on one side or the other of a border that they can't get across even though they would like to. And that's because of the global pandemic. So that's kind of a controversy, right? Some people think that the borders need to reopen, and some people don't. But this is a really, really, really big topic, right? There are lots and lots and lots of pieces to this topic. We could write an entire book about the issue of borders at the current moment. So what I would like you to do now is brainstorm a list of ways that you could make this topic smaller. What are the smaller topics that fall under this big one? So you're going to pause the video for up to 5 minutes, maybe as few as 3 minutes, so 3 to 5 minutes, and come up with ways to make this topic smaller. Okay, so now you've brainstormed for 3 to 5 minutes, and I hope that you have some smaller slices of the bigger controversial topic that you have brainstormed. You can see on the whiteboard that I have some. So my initial controversy was whether the borders should be reopened. And I thought that there are several ways that I can make that smaller. The biggest way I can make it smaller is geography, right? Thinking specifically about the Russian Federation and the United States, or maybe the US, Canada, and Mexico as a set of borders, or the Russian Federation in Europe, right, as a kind of a big border zone. So that's geography, making the topic smaller. Some other things I thought about, though, were maybe the controversy is under what conditions, right? What are the conditions that we need to see? Or another way to say conditions is maybe benchmarks. What are the benchmarks? And then what safety measures would we need in order to open the borders? So those are some of the ways that I am thinking about making this topic smaller. And I'm most interested, I'm going to change colors here. I'm most interested in the Russian Federation and US border and these two ideas. What are the benchmarks and what are the safety measures? So I could see kind of combining these two ideas into a bigger paper. So our next step, now that we have thought about how to make that big thing smaller, is to choose two of these topics from your list, like I've done here. And for each of these two topics, come up with 5 key words. And then for each of those keywords, some possible synonyms. So the 5 keywords that I'm going to come up with for this next part for the Russian Federation and the US. Certainly the country names, Russian Federation, US. The border is a keyword. And then maybe flights, visas, right? So here are some keywords. But also when we're searching for things, we need to be thinking about not just the first word that comes to mind, but what are some possible synonyms? So the Russian Federation is, of course, the official name of the country in English, but it's often also called Russia. And the US is also often called America. So probably not too many other synonyms we could get for the country names, but I could probably come up with some synonyms for the border, and I could also come up with some synonyms for this other topic that I was looking at, thinking about benchmarks and safety measures. So I invite you to pause the video again for about 3 to 5 minutes and think about what are the keywords and the synonyms for those keywords that you can think of related to your topic. Okay, I hope that brainstorming went well for you. As you can see on my whiteboard, the brainstorming went pretty well for me. I didn't add any more keywords to the Russia-US border topic, but I did come up with some keywords for the safety measures and benchmarks idea. So test and trace is another synonym for contact tracing. I've got masks. We also sometimes call them face coverings when we talk about them in English. Quarantine, another synonym for that is isolation. And then I have some statistical terms. These are the terms that get used when we're talking about the progression of the disease. And I couldn't really think of synonyms for the statistical terms. So I'm going to leave those alone for now. But what I hope this video has helped you to see is how we can take a big, large topic, a controversy that we could write an entire book about, and break it down into some smaller pieces. What are the smaller controversies that are kind of under the umbrella of the big controversy? And then taking those smaller controversies, we can brainstorm some of the key words and ideas that we can then take to our search engine as we start to look for sources. So what you should do, whether if you did this by typing, you did this brainstorming today by typing, you can just submit that on Canvas. If you did this brainstorm today on paper, you wrote it out by hand, you can take a picture of that piece of paper and upload the picture to Canvas. So do show me your brainstorming. Let me see what you are thinking about. And I look forward to seeing your ideas.